Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I am going to be showing you a tutorial on how to make the French French seam on your shoulders. So basically I am going to be facing the back should be facing each other. I'm trying to look at the keyhole to make sure that is the right keyhole for the back. So the back and the back is going to be facing each other while the front is going to be facing upwards. So I'm just basically going to pin it in place totally so that no one is short or longer. So after pinning it, I am going to sew on a quarter of an inch because the allowance I left was half of an inch. So half of an inch, if that makes sense. So that's a quarter of an inch. So I am basically going to sew in slowly and neatly. Remember, not forgetting that you have to leave like extra thread both at the front and at the two sides to sew it. You're not going to interlock it, so I'm going to just tie it once and definitely going to do it a second time just so that the stitch doesn't lose at any point in time. So after doing that, I didn't back stitch in the other side. You arrange it neatly, and then you see I cut it far, so I'll be able to turn turn the thread. So I'm gonna do that twice too. After doing that, I'm just gonna trim off the thread out of it, and then I am going to sew it again for the second side. So not to forget, this is a quarter of an inch. So I'm just going to sew it neatly and slowly. Take your time. After doing that, make sure you also leave excess thread both when you're starting the stitch and at the end of the stitch, so that you can just tie it properly twice so it doesn't lose. You don't backstitch, because once you backstitch on this, it's rumples the net or whatever you're using. It just rumples it. So I choose not to always backstitch. It just makes it straight, neater. So I'm going to tie the second side neatly, and as you can see, all done. So basically after doing that, you have to like iron. I'm just showing you guys how it looks now. It's very tiny, but before you iron, okay, yeah, very tiny, as you can see, showing you dry the too. So I'm going to just go iron it so that the stitch melts properly and it balances very well for the next one. I am actually supposed to open the middle of this to iron, but as you can see, a quarter of an inch is actually really small. So I'm just going to iron it to the side where it's going to fall. That's the keyhole side. That's to the back, basically. If you notice, to the back. So I'm going to iron the second part to make sure you iron it to the back, facing the back, since ironing one side. But if the allowance you give is higher than this, you have to open the stitch and then sew. So I'm just going to cut off the extra excess out of it. I'm going to cut it to make it really tiny for both sides, basically, just so when I turn it over, it is neatly, it's going to balance neatly. So after doing that, I am going to So after doing that, guys, I am going to turn it over. We sewed on the back side facing each other and the front up, so we're going to turn it over. This is the back side, so I'm going to turn it over totally. So turning this over now, it's going to be facing the front now. This is now the front facing each other. Then you hold it at the tip of where you sewed and fold it. I normally really like going to iron, so it just folds better. So but I iron on low heat, really low heat. So I'm going to fold it over. Now this is now the front. This is now where the front is. So then I'm going to sew on it. So I'm just showing you guys, this is where I'm going to sew. So I'm going to sew on a quarter of an inch to a quarter of an inch. Iron it properly. I'm going to go iron both sides. Then I'm going to sew on a quarter of an inch. Now this is the front side facing, you know. Now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to tie the edge, the both sides, tie it twice, just so it doesn't, um you know becomes rumpled, or make the fabric or whatever you're using, just the net or whatever you're using, just become rough. So this is going to make it really straight. So I'm going to cut it from this side, and I'm going to sew the other side. Make sure that it's ironed properly, so that you get it properly. And now you're going to sew also on a quarter of an inch. You're going to sew on a quarter of an inch. So take your time while sewing, so that you can sew it neatly. Make sure you don't turn, you don't backstitch at both the beginning and the ending too. Never ever forget that, because that's a key to get like a perfect French seam on your illusion net. Yeah. So after doing that, after tying it, you just cut off the excess, tie the second one slowly, neatly, and cut off the excess. Then after that, as you can see, this is now uh this is the back of the neck. You face it, this is the back of the neck. This is totally the back, and this is the front of your shoulder. Sorry, I keep saying neck, your shoulders. So this is the final product. This is the front, this is the front facing the front, and then this is the front. So this is the final product. It just avoids from choking your client, and just relax neatly on your shoulders. So please, you guys should subscribe, like, and share. Thank you guys for watching.